Hello, everybody. We are here for our October live show for the Ladies' Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzi Lee. This live show, we have another special guest back. It is Desiree from Libri Labra.
Hello.
So, as always, we are going to start for the first couple of minutes, do non-spoilery talk, and then we will let you guys know when we go into spoilers. And if you want to keep watching and don't care about the spoilers, then go ahead and stay. And if not, then I suggest you read this book first. So, Desiree, would you like to go first with your initial thoughts since you are our guest?
Sure. So, initial thoughts. I feel like it made me feel very similar to the first book. Just the happiness, just everything about it made me happy. I love how well she's able to put herself in that environment, and their language, the way they act, how self-aware they are, just like everything about it is awesome. I feel like she's now an auto-buy author for me. So, and Felicity is very much her own person and own character, and I've just really enjoyed it.
Cap?
So while I did love this book, I'm actually complete opposite of Desiree. I like the first book way better, like 100 times more than this book. I gave this book 4 stars, but the first book I gave it 5 stars. But the first book, if I could give it 100 stars, I would. That's how much I loved the Gentleman's Guide, whatever. But this book, while I loved the story like a lot, sometimes Felicity annoyed me like a lot. And I missed Monty. Even though the book obviously isn't focusing on Monty anymore, he had his story. This is obviously based on his sister. I missed him. I missed his charm, because I thought he was very charming in the first book, and that's one of the reasons why I loved the first book so much. Monty was just really, really charming. He wasn't the smartest cookie in the cookie jar, but he was so charming, and I personally really loved him, and his personality was just great. I feel like sometimes Felicity was too forceful to me. And that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't love this book as much as I did with the first book. But I do like that it kind of has the feel of the first book, where they kind of travel a lot and they go to different places and they do crazy things in these different places. So I enjoyed that about this book as well.
So I ended up giving this book 5 stars. I finished it this morning, and I really ended up enjoying it, even though it wasn't the story that I thought we were going to get. But I can't talk about that until we're in spoilers. But I really ended up enjoying this book. I do enjoy the travel in it, and I enjoyed the sense of girl power, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it. I enjoyed the first one too. And I remember I didn't think I was gonna like the first one, and I bought it at Y'all Fest last year, and I loved it. So yeah, 5 stars for me. So I guess it's time for us to move into more spoiler reviews for our 2 viewers. If you have not, for our 1 viewer, if you have not read this book, and you don't care for spoilers, then go ahead and stick around. And if not, then see you later. I don't know. I also need to pull up the comments before I forget. But now that we're in spoilers, I do want to talk about the little spoilery thing. Do you guys remember at the end of Gentleman's Guide when the pirate captain offered Felicity a job as a doctor on their ship?
Yeah.
That's what I thought this whole book was going to be about.
I did too.
I thought that too.
Okay. All right. I'm glad I wasn't the only one. Yeah.
And I'm kind of disappointed that I wasn't, because this book says piracy. So I was expecting for Felicity to be a pirate in this book. And no, I didn't get that. But okay. I was happy with the story overall, though.
Yeah, I still really enjoyed it.
The piracy element was her and like Sim's crew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was still great. That was great too.
Yeah.
right, who wants to go first?
So was there like no connection at all? Who was that guy? What was the name of the guy that offered her the position as the doctor? It wasn't Scipio, was it?
I don't remember. I'd have to look at the end of the other book.
I don't remember either. I remember that in this book here, I remember saying that they spent a few more months on sea with them before they settled down again. And I thought Felicity was going to stay with the pirates, but obviously she didn't.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it was. I don't remember it being very much explained as to why she didn't stay on the ship.
I know one of the things that, and this was when I guess Monty made his appearance in the audiobook. I was disappointed it wasn't the same Monty voice because.
Oh, it wasn't?
What? It was the girl. The girl.
Sorry, I'm listening to an audiobook right now that has like 6 cast members.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one narrator.
Yeah. So, you know, she still did an excellent job, I think, but I wanted to hear his voice again so much because I feel like, you know, who narrated Monty did such an excellent job too. So it was just like, I don't want to hear a girl pretending to be a guy.
True, but I honestly didn't feel that way because I feel like she did such a good job that I got Monty vibes like all the way through.
Oh, it's true anyway.
And I was just like, why can't Monty be like a major part of this book again? Like, I wanted him back so much.
Kat, did you listen to the audiobook as well?
Part, like I read and I listened to the audio, so I did part and part. But I did listen to the, like, when I was reading the book and Monty came in, it was when I was listening to it.
I know that this is a duology, and she has said that she's not going to do anything from Percy's perspective because she didn't feel like.
The thing is, because according to Goodreads, I didn't know this.
Yeah, that's where I saw it on Goodreads. She had answered the question.
Oh, no, I was going to say that this series is called the Montague Sibling Series.
Right.
And I was thinking there's one more sibling, so I was kind of hoping to get a third book out of her on this series, but who knows?
Yeah, I kind of assumed that it would be the 3 of them, but then when she said that she just didn't feel comfortable writing from his perspective, I thought that kind of made sense. But I was like, but I still want to get a book from Percy's perspective.
I mean, I understand, but I feel like it's also due to, like, maybe she doesn't want to go into controversy because, you know, Monty is African American and he's also he deals
Percy.
with Percy, yeah. With,
no, I understand that's why she said she wouldn't write it, and I get it and I respect that. I still wanted a story.
Yeah, no, I agree because Percy is such a great character too.
There
to deal with Monty, you have to be a great character.
I found out today that there is an ebook novella called The Gentleman's Guide to Getting Lucky. It comes between the 2 books, but it was a pre-order incentive.
Yeah, I got it. I didn't read it, but I got it.
What was it a pre-order incentive for?
For this one.
For this one?
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I thought it was for, because she had another book come out, Bygones, Badass and Badass Bros, I think. Brought something, something like that.
I think I know what you're talking about. No, it was a pre-order for this one, but you had to sign up on the website and submit your receipt.
Well, she said, because there's an update on Goodreads that says if you pre-ordered but didn't know about the promotion until now, you can email your receipt. So I need to find my email for this. I pre-ordered this in January, so I need to find it. But yeah, I didn't know about it. Cat's like, I don't pre-order.
I don't care about pre-order incentives. Like, I really don't.
You're literally getting my pre-order incentive. I'm literally giving it to you.
Hey, you're getting my tapestry, okay? That I could sell that for a lot of money.
I know.
Where are you gonna put it? Have you decided?
No. I don't know.
Anyway, what did you guys think about Sims and Felicity's relationship? I don't know if I like it. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that right now.
I predicted it.
I predicted it too because it was like really obvious at some points, but I just don't know how I feel about it.
I mean, it was really obvious from the beginning. Even John was like, "Is Sim sweet on her?" I was like, "What did you say?"
Yeah, no, it was pretty obvious. Like,
yeah.
But I don't know how I feel about it.
So, I don't know if it's been said like publicly, but I guess Felicity is either Ace or Demi or something along those lines.
She gave me a lot of Ace vibes, just because like when she had her second, like her kiss with what's her name, with Sam, she said she didn't feel anything. So that's why I got a lot of Ace vibes from her.
Can't find my pre-order email, guys.
I think it was cute though towards the end where Sim is like, if I was all dressed up and cleaned up and I proposed.
Oh no, yeah, they had a lot of sweet moments, and I really liked their relationship / friendship. I really enjoyed that. I think Sim was. I like that Sim was understanding of Felicity and her wanting to be more than what her gender defies. So I really enjoyed that about Sim, that she was supportive in some ways. But I don't know. I feel like they had such a great friendship, and I would have been okay if this book had no romance at all, you know?
Right.
So that's how I personally feel about it.
I feel like there were maybe romantic moments, but it didn't feel like there was really romance in there. If that makes any sense. Like, what did you think about, Felicity's relationship with Joanna?
Oh, I love that. Their friendship, I lived for it. I was like, when okay, so there was the scene about Joanna's party, remember? And that Felicity wasn't uncomfortable there, and like she pretended to feel sick, and then she accidentally flipped over the dessert table. Remember that scene? Yeah. Just so she could get away from the party. And then Joanna was like, go ahead, you've been wanting to leave all night anyways, or something along those lines. And I was like, I felt like Felicity was so selfish in that moment. Like, I get it, she's not comfortable being around socializing women, like being in parties. I get that that's not her scene, but the point is that the party wasn't about her, it was about her friend. And I get that she's there not necessarily to be Joanna's friend, but she has an ulterior motive. She's trying to get to her future husband, Dr. Platt. But I just thought that whole scene, like, it's probably one of the reasons why I don't like this book as much as the first book, because I did feel that Felicity was just so selfish. She thought about only herself in some moments, and I really like that moment when Joanna said that you've been wanting to leave here the whole night. And like, it really made me like upset for Joanna. But later on, as they started to become better friends, and like Felicity finally understood a little bit more about Joanna, and the fact that she matured. Not everybody like stays the same. I feel like she resented Joanna a little bit for wanting to do other things besides their little pretend games that they used to play. That she wanted to be more sociable. She wanted to go to parties, and I feel like Felicity learned a big lesson that you can be, you don't have to be either those types of girls or the little Joanna that she knew from childhood. You can be interested in the sciences and medical stuff and in intellectual stuff, and still want to be sociable and party and do all the things that ladies in those times do. And I do feel like Felicity, in this regard, she had a big character growth in regards to their friendship.
Well, it seems like Joanna was there. Sorry, Chloe, if you want to.
You're fine.
Joanna was kind of there to like be the mirror, right? She was there to kind of reflect Felicity's thoughts back at her and force her to think about stuff. And there were a couple of things that I highlighted in here. I don't know if I'll be able to find it.
Yeah, I do agree with that. You said that she's like a big mirror, and it's good because Felicity, this whole book, she kept, she wanted the men to recognize that she's capable of doing whatever it is that they do, despite the fact that she's female. But I do feel like that she ended up putting Joanna under those same expectations that she expected, just because Joanna wants to be a party person, wants to be more sociable, that she's automatically not the intellectual friend that she had, back when they were playing pretend, those games that they came up with as a child. Anyways, go ahead.
I did feel bad though for Felicity when the whole dessert table thing happened, because she didn't intend for the dessert.
Yeah.
It happened, and I felt so bad for her. But then I also felt bad for Joanna because like this is her party and everything. But then when she ended up like running away anyway, I didn't feel as bad anymore because she didn't really care about the wedding.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's super relevant to kind of somewhat of the discussion that is coming up again in BookTube in regards to girls wearing makeup and liking books and da-da-da-da-da. Like, we don't have to be either or. We can be multifaceted. We can be both things. And so the quote that I highlighted here is Joanna, and she's talking to Felicity, and she says, "Every time you rolled your eyes and every little smart remark you made about how silly it was for girls to care about their looks, you refused to let me or anyone like books and silks, outdoors and cosmetics. You stopped taking me seriously when I stopped being the kind of woman you thought I had to be considered intelligent and strong. All those things you say men take women less seriously for. I don't think it's men, it's you. You're not better than any other woman. You like philosophy better than parties and don't give a fig about the company of gentlemen, or because you wear boots instead of heels, you don't set your hair in curls, blah, 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 blah." So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great passage. And that's exactly what Felicity did to Joanna. And I'm glad that Joanna said something, because it threw back in Felicity's face that, you say that men are being discriminating against you for being a woman, but you're doing the same thing to me for being a woman.
Right.
It's okay to like makeup and to be sociable and to go to parties and to read books and want to know, about different animals and, play medicine and stuff like that. It's okay. You can have multiple, interests. But I'm glad that Joanna stood up to her, because Felicity really annoyed me in some of those aspects, that she was so blind to her own, what's the word? Hypocrisy.
Right. What did you guys think about Max?
The dog?
Yes. You're like, I didn't have any feelings about Max.
I mean, the thing is, like, when Joanna agreed to marry Dr. Platt because they were threatening to kill the dog, and I was like, I feel you, Joanna, because if someone were to threaten Thumper, my buddy, I'd be like, I'll marry you. I don't care. Don't touch him. He does not like to be touched. So just leave him alone, and fine, I'll marry you. Have all the papers you want.
But I mean, like, she felt foolish for feeling that way, but I could totally relate to that. Like, dare threaten to harm one of my animals. Like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm glad that Felicity was understanding, because, animals can be just as important to us as, people. It's like she really loved that dog, and so it's part of her family. So why wouldn't she be, willing to do whatever it is to keep the dog alive? So
I like the towards the end when they came up with the whole new plan after Sim's father was going to back out on it. I like how they made that sort of compromise, but I also felt bad because then, like, well, Monty and Percy are going to go back to London, but then Felicity's going to be like all the way over here, wherever that was, and it's like, won't you guys miss each other? Like you're not on the same continent anymore, or the same piece of land.
I mean, yeah, they're going to miss each other, but I feel like it's also like they're siblings. Like, I love my sister, but I don't like having her live next to me. So she literally, like, in case you guys don't know, she literally lives next door. She lives in the house next door to us. And I'm just like,
okay,
That's awesome.
Your life like that, and how Will's sister and brother-in-law live down the street. It's literally like my big fat Greek wedding.
I grew up in a separate house from my brother, and we literally lived right across the street from each other. And so that, I get it.
I mean, granted, I would love for them to be able to, live in the same city, be able to see each other. But I mean, I guess with, growing up. That just happens. You kind of go your separate ways.
But
is different from being next door to each other.
But you also have to consider that this is before like they even use telephones. So
That's true.
communication, it's not like you could live across the world and like occasionally call each other or Skype or talk to each other on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. Like they didn't have any of that. As a matter of fact, there was one scene that reminded me of that, and I was like, oh my God, when they were trying to help Sim and she said, I need water, and she said, okay, the well is like a half a mile away, I'll run. And I was like, what? Can you imagine needing water immediately and having to run half a mile there and back? Like I was like, oh my God, I can't even right now.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But you know what? Reading this whole book reminded me a lot of Outlander. Like it was hard for me not to see pieces of Claire in Felicity. It takes place during different times, but Claire is a nurse and she wants to be a doctor. And so she's facing all the same things in regards to wanting to go to a school and men not taking her seriously, and their personalities are a little similar. So I'm wondering if she was inspired by that in any way, shape, or form.
I'm going to tell you guys that I was so scared I wasn't going to get this done in time. And for me, that's really weird because I'm always done like a week ahead.
I knew you were going to do it. You kept like freaking out. I have 75 pages left. I have 100 pages. I was like, Chloe, you're going to do it. You always like, I had absolutely no doubt. You were freaking out all the way like over there. And I'm just like, she's going to do it. She's going to get it done on time. I don't even want to reply to her message.
It wasn't today that I was worried. It was yesterday because like you and I were at Universal all day, and I'm like, I don't have an ebook to read. I can't read anything in lines. What do I do? And
I figure you're freaking out because it's your first time that you ever left like the book for the last minute, and I do it all the time. So I'm just like, I'm used to like.
I kind of do too. So like, as a matter of fact, the fact that I finished it at 1-ish was like kind of early for me.
Well, because when you had messaged that you just woke up, first of all, I cannot sleep that late. I don't know how you're doing it. And then I was already like, what'd you say?
I was gonna say I do it all the time. I don't know how you can get up.
I was up till 3 reading.
Yeah,
like listening to the book.
Usually me too.
I crashed it. Okay, so I was at Will's house last night, and you know when you don't feel good, and then you start laughing about something, and then you cry. That happened to me yesterday because I was so tired, and I went home and I fell asleep. And I woke up and I think it was 107 after I went to bed. But like, I was like, it was last night that I was worried. This morning I wasn't really worried. The only thing I was worried about this morning is I had to film before I had to leave. And I didn't think I would have time.
Do you guys have any like specific favorite scenes in the book?
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. What did you guys think of Dr. Platt? Did you know that he was gonna end up being a douche at the end?
I think they had they kept talking about the snuff box, and I was like, how? Because when I think of snuff, I think of stuff that gets put in your gums, right? So I had to look up what it was.
What is a snuff box? I didn't even look it up. I was just like, I just went with it.
I guess people take like opium and they sniff it or something like that, or maybe both tobacco too. I don't know. He was clearly addicted to something, right?
Yeah.
So at some point, I guessed that what he was actually addicted to was not just tobacco or not opium. It was the other stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't think I immediately thought he was going to be a douche in that fashion. Like, I think he fooled me. When they had their first conversation, he fooled me in regards to how he was trying to help Felicity. So momentarily. But then they kept bringing up what he looked like and constantly reaching for the snuff box. And I was like, he's addicted. And people with addictions don't normally behave in good ways. So I don't know.
I think I started being like suspicious when he offered her the job as his secretary. Not like where she wanted to go on his expedition, but like to stay home and reply to his like male or something like that. So I started getting suspicious that he wasn't, like, it was nice of him to offer her a job like that, but I was just like, I don't like you anymore.
I mean, I didn't think a lot about it until it was like actually revealed, but I definitely didn't expect like him to just offer like the secretary position. Like I thought maybe he was going to be a little bit better than that, but no.
Are you actually? What about Caleb, the guy at the beginning, like the guy that who proposed to her? I honestly felt bad for him. Like I felt bad for him. Like I get it. Like if someone proposes to you, you're allowed to say no. You're within your own rights to say no. It's just like she said, she does not have to marry who she doesn't want to. But I honestly felt bad for him because he was really nice. And I was like, I want you to have your happy ending. And I wish at the end, you know how she writes him a letter saying that she's staying behind and she tells him everything that's going on. I honestly wish that Mackenzi Lee had included a letter from him to her saying, "Oh, it's okay. I found another girl anyways." And he had it happily ever after or something. And I felt bad for him. He was so sweet.
I didn't like when he didn't believe in her.
Yeah, I guess
that was like the thoughts of the time, but like, oh, I believe.
I mean, I get it, yeah, but I was just like, that's nice, and I felt sorry for him, especially like, can you imagine like proposing to someone and what she does is that she runs away from you? Like, how sad can you be? Like, God.
It was sad. You know what, like, before things happened with her and Sim, I was like, how is this going to end? Is she going to have this adventure and then realize she does want to marry Callum? I was like, that can't happen. And then I was like, oh, maybe she'll marry Sim. And because I thought Sim's little, like, this is what it could be like, and I'll sail for years and we'll only see each other occasionally, and, you know, you'll never get tired of me. For someone who, you know, might not feel like they need companionship, that might be like an ideal situation. I don't know.
I know, but I thought that was like the saddest situation, like the saddest scenario she could be in. Like, oh yeah, I'll just see my significant other every few months. Just like, okay.
Yeah, I didn't like the thought of that either, but I'm also kind of glad that it didn't really end with them in a relationship, like explicitly.
Yeah, I like that it left it open-ended, yeah.
Yeah. Although I still want more.
So I'm not sure exactly what Wendy Green is referring to, but she said that's bad times had by all. So I guess maybe Kat saying, imagine proposing and then having somebody, you know, respond by running away. I think that's what she's responding to. What?
Oh, I see. I was like, what are you talking about? And I see.
What are your thoughts? Because I feel like, you know, feminism is a huge theme in this book, right? And women being able to solve their own problems and do their own things and not depending on men, blah, blah, blah. What were your thoughts about her kind of being saved by Monty when she got...
I love that.
Which scene?
I think at that point she was on the ship and Platt was trying to... Because he didn't know what it was. So he was like, yeah, take these girls back to wherever. And Monty was pretending like he was just going to take them without revealing who he was or that he was related to her. So he kind of like swooped in and saved them at that point. So I'm just curious what you think about that, them needing him to save them.
I liked it because I was honestly scared that they were going to go back to England and it was a whole thing. But then, like, I really like Monty, so I was just glad that he showed up. And then he was so in character, like, and it was so Monty of him.
I mean, I see what you're saying. I wish that they had saved themselves.
Right.
However, I don't mind it so much because I feel like it made sense at the time. Like, unless they did something really, really, really out of just broke out of their bonds and ran away, I don't see how they could have gotten themselves out of the situation. And it's like, It's like in the beginning where when she first runs away and Monty tries to find her, like she's waiting at the ship to get on with Sim, and he sees her, but then she managed to escape him and he ends up getting thrown in the water. Remember that whole thing? I knew that for a fact that because he loves his sister so much, he was going to spend all that time looking for her.
I'm trying to find her.
Him and Percy are going to go look for her. So I knew at one point he was going to show up. And yeah, like I said, I wish there was a way that she could have saved herself, but I don't necessarily mind that Monty was the one who did it.
Mm-hmm.
There was something else. The end of that chapter was really funny though, because he was like, I think he said something. Oh, I think she likes you, and talking about Sim, and Felicity just unloads like everything, and he was like, "Whoa! I just meant she begrudgingly respects you. How long were you holding on?"
I love Monty. Like he's like one of my favorite characters of all time. He's just like he's such a sweetheart, and yeah, I love that chapter, like where they just like poke fun at each other, and I love their sibling like relationship.
Oh, I know what I also wanted to ask. Go ahead. Do you want to finish?
I was going to say also when they found her, they did like the Percy Monty sandwich on her, and I was like, oh, so cute.
So I thought that maybe you didn't like the book because of the element that was introduced about the dragons.
Really?
Like, that was my assumption, because like I feel like in the first book there wasn't any fantastical things in there, and then they kind of threw this one in here. So I wasn't sure if maybe that's why you didn't like it.
I think like the most reason why I didn't love like the one, like if you were to ask me why I loved the first book so much, was because of Monty. Like I love Monty to death. Like he is literally one of my favorite characters of all time. He's just so charming and he's fun to read about. And I guess this book I didn't like it because first off, he's not in it as much time as much as obviously the book is not about him, but also because I did feel like Felicity was a little too forthcoming, and sometimes like she just annoyed me. So that's probably why I didn't like the book as much. But I mean, I still really loved it, and it has nothing to do with like how the story went. It's more like I just missed Monty too much. What did you guys think about the dragon? I thought that was like is there like a literal dragon?
I don't
like
think so. I think that's just what they call
like trying to imagine these dragons. Like obviously it's a water type of dragons in the water, but I'm just like, is it like, does it actually look like a dragon like what we might think a dragon looks like today? I feel like they don't really describe them as besides the fact that it has scales on it. So I don't know.
I feel like I pictured it as some sort of like dinosaur with scales. I feel like
because
like a water dinosaur,
right? Like I was kind of picturing like what is it, like the Loch Ness monster?
Yeah.
Okay.
And but I feel like she must have based this on something slightly realish.
Yeah,
because they didn't really use the word dinosaurs back then, or probably like it was just probably some big kind of water lizard. I feel like.
Yeah.
I definitely wasn't expecting the dragon thing. Like Kat, I told you yesterday, I thought it was going to be some weird thing about how like Sim and Joanna have the same mom, and it was doing something weird like that. But then I was wrong, very wrong.
Yeah. I wish there was like some kind of plot twist like that, where the mom is revealed to be the mother of someone else, and it would make total sense. And I was like, oh.
So, what do you think about the mom's character? Because it kind of went back and forth in regards to what kind of a person she was, and I don't know if maybe I just didn't want to believe it. But was she like a bad person? Like, was she a super selfish person, or was that just something that Platt had been saying to like get under Joanna's skin? Like,
sorry, go ahead, Chloe.
I think maybe to Platt she was a bad person, but I mean,
I was gonna say I think it has to do with perspective. I think maybe she's both. Maybe she was a woman who had a lot of ambition, and she undercut others in order to make sure that she came out on top, because she had the unfair advantage of being a woman in those times. And it just came across to Dr. Platt that, you know, she was a bad person and that she was willing to walk all over everybody else in order to achieve her goals and be recognized for being a doctor as a woman. But maybe that's just like, if we were to talk to her, maybe she would give it like a different scenario in which she says, oh, you know, I didn't mean to do that, but, you know, I wanted my recognition. It's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like what Felicity did to Joanna. She came under the pretense of being there for her friend for her wedding, but instead what she really wanted to do was talk to Dr. Platt about getting the job because she was ultimately there for selfish reasons. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I feel like I mean, I don't think I would do something like that. Like, you have to really put aside your integrity to be like, I want this thing so bad that I'm willing to manipulate this person that I cared about, who I haven't talked to in years, just to have what I want. But obviously I'm glad that they like reconnected, and I liked that it was more a story about her and Joanna.
Yeah.
Than whatever was happening with Platt. What do you think about, you know, the dragon skills and it being like this miracle drug kind of thing?
I was sad that little baby dragon died, but like a miracle drug. I don't know. It was just like,
in a way, it has it's very similar to a lot of drugs. You know, you have like these for example, these painkillers that, you know, relieve a lot, that is very helpful to people, but if you take too much, it's addicting. And, you know, there are so many people that are addicted to painkillers because that's what it is. They just become addicted to the drug, and it can turn into a bad thing. Too much of a one thing could be a bad thing. And so I understand. I like the implication that, you know, this thing it helps so much, but it has an addictive quality to it. And it just reminded me a lot of like the drug problems that we face now today, that, you know, some people say that our modern society takes too much drugs. Like, you know, we have a headache and we go and pop a pill to get rid of it. And it's kind of like, you know, people who get addicted to painkillers, it's kind of like similar to that. It helps, but too much of a good thing can also be a bad thing.
So what about like where they were talking about like what actually happened to her mom, because she was testing it on herself?
Yeah, I guess she poisoned herself, and I guess she wasn't able to take the cure on time, and that's how she died. That's what happened?
I don't remember. I don't remember if that's the exact way they
remember they found the pouch that she had on her was full of poisons, and then Felicity realized that one of them was not, and that she was trying to, you know, test her own cure, because that's what doctors, you know, who face challenges did back then. They're going to take, you know, in order to prove their theory, they're going to test it on themselves. You know, I think that's how she died. I think she poisoned herself and she wasn't able to get to the antidote on time, and she died.
That reminds me of like somewhere really close to the beginning where Felicity talks about operating on her own foot, like cutting open her foot, doing stuff. And I'm just like, what? Like, I get that sometimes for medicine, doctors are willing to do some.
I mean, I don't know if it's in this, if it was talked about. I know that there was an example in this that Felicity talked about in this book, but there was the doctor who discovered the cure for syphilis. He injected him.
He injected him with himself.
Yeah, he gave himself the disease and then cured himself using his own cure.
Like, you have to be crazy sure about yourself.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know if I could do that. That's intense.
Well, there was like, you guys probably haven't seen it. It's not a very popular movie. There's this movie called Contagion, and it's about this disease that
Gwyneth Paltrow in it.
Yes,
Yes, I saw that a long time ago. I hate that movie.
Yeah, so it's a disease that came from pigs, and basically it's killing off the planet. It's an epidemic, and the way they found a cure is that the doctor who was working on finding the cure, she injected herself with the disease, and then she injected herself with the drug because they needed to do human trials, but the disease was killing so fast.
Oh my god,
yeah, the human trials are going to take weeks, and a lot of more people are going to die then. So she decided to do a human trial on herself. So she gave herself the disease, knowing that she could possibly die if it doesn't work, and injected herself with the cure. So
movies like that are terrifying to me because that can really happen.
I love it. I love movies like that.
It's scary.
Anyway, but yeah, I feel like I don't quite remember, but I feel like that's how she died, right? Being poisoned herself.
Something like that. I wasn't sure if that was it or if she had just done it so many times that she kind of got super addicted to it and then just went off on that trail. Like she died with her addiction. As opposed to just dying because she poisoned herself. If that makes sense.
It terrifies me.
But what was the resolution with the dragons? Because I feel like, are they still?
They're protected, and they're gonna study them, but they're gonna study them from the pirates area. I thought.
No, remember. So her dad is going to protect them, but remember when Sim was talking to Felicity and she said that, this could also be a bad thing because people are going to come and they're going to discover them anyway. So by trying to shield them from the world, you're only creating more mystery behind it because obviously this rumor is going to get out. And so I think that's what Felicity's going to do. Like she's going to...
Yeah. But the map didn't go to London, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So Felicity is going to stay behind with Sim and, like, I don't know, come up with some kind of resolution with her dad to try to kind of protect the dragons, but also give the people what they want. I'm not sure. I don't quite remember, but I remember it was something like that.
And then Joanna is going to go back home and get her life together, and then she's going to come back in a year.
Yeah, she's going to hire Monty to take care of her stuff.
That's
remember? Remember? Yeah.
She had a really big crush on Monty.
She had a big crush on Percy.
She had a crush on Percy.
Wait, on Percy?
Yeah, she had a crush on Percy. Yeah, it wasn't Monty.
I thought it was Monty.
It was Percy.
That's funny. I feel like we didn't get enough of Percy.
I know. I can't.
Like, he was just kind of there to, like, frazzle Felicity.
They're just two little cinnamon rolls that we didn't get enough of.
I know. I love them. Like the one scene, I can't. Like the one scene where they're at the bar with the other like pirates, and that's where she meets Sim for the first time. Like that one tiny scene where Felicity says, "Stop putting your foot up my ankle," and because he thought that she was.
It was
Percy. That's so Monty. I can't. He can't keep his hands to himself. I love it.
He's too funny. I think I highlighted that too, like when they were on the ship and Percy was wounded, where she starts talking about, she's like, I've never seen this much fear on another human's face because, this is how much he loves Percy and, it's like half his heart and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. The moment where he got shot. Yeah. Also, I feel like I want another book. I know she's not going to write it, but I want another book from their perspective on Monty and Percy because I want there to be... I understand that this is like, what, the 1800s or something like that. I want there to be a more closure in regards to Percy's illness. Because he's clearly still affected by it, like when she first comes to see them, and Percy's sleeping because he had an episode the night before, and it really takes a lot out of him. Mm-hmm. And she gives him like recommendations from what she's read about how to potentially treat it. Not cure it, but treat it. And I understand that today you still don't have like much of a cure for this kind of thing, but I wanted there to be more like a scene where he talks about, oh hey, thanks for the advice, it works, you know, it's helping with the episodes. The episodes aren't as, you know, crippling as they were before, and I wanted there to be a little bit of closure in regards to his illness.
Mm-hmm.
And I like, it breaks my heart thinking that, you know, he's still going through this and he's not being treated for it because he can't. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think it makes me happy to know that he's not in an insane asylum because of it. But that, you know, that didn't happen too much in this book, but it just really makes you think about how we used to look at people who were different.
Yeah, I think people with epilepsy, I mean, they weren't really treated.
They were treated like they were possessed.
They're not insane. They just have this illness. So, I was going to say that they weren't treated like they're not insane until the 20th century. Like, we hear about like these insane asylums just like a few decades ago where, you know, they've been treating these patients with like lobotomies or whatever.
Like even people who were gay or lesbian, like they were lobotomizing them. Like, that is mind-blowing.
And it is just also a few decades ago that, you know, churches were treating people with epilepsy as being demon possessed. And so, like, I guess I understand that there is no closure for his illness in this book because, again, it's based on the 1800s, and people with epilepsy haven't really been understood until the last few recent decades. But I wanted to, because I feel because like Chloe said, they're like little cinnamon rolls. You just want them to have happy endings, and it's like, it's so sad.
I would love for her to write more in this world.
Yeah.
Like, I would definitely, you know, if she can't do it from Percy's perspective, I think I would enjoy reading about Joanna and Max and, like, you know, just any of them, really. It would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like she created a great series, and she created some great characters, and, you know, it's really unfair to only give Monty one book. Like, give me more. He deserves like a whole series to himself, okay?
Do you think that either of these books, you know, might be optioned for a movie?
I hope so. I really hope, because the books are just, they're really action packed. Like, they're not just staying. It's not like a historical fiction where a lot of things are happening in one place. It's happening all over. They're traveling a lot, and these characters are really great. You know, fun characters to read about. Can you imagine seeing them on screen? I think they'll be great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of books that have come out, or movies that have come out recently, that the books have been around for like a couple of years now. Like Darkest Minds. When did Darkest Minds published?
Like back in 2012-ish, I think.
Yeah. And like there are some that have been optioned that like take forever and probably won't ever come out. So maybe it's been optioned and we just don't know.
Right.
I hope so.
That's very possible. I mean, even if they make it like a Netflix movie. I know, like,
and the thing is also, I mean, I hate to say it, but I feel like that's how Hollywood has been treating it, that the LGBT thing is like a trend. So because this does have a LGBT relationship in it, especially a biracial relationship, I think it would, Hollywood would probably be interested in it.
I wrote a paper on that once, and I wrote a paper on Love, Simon. And Love, Simon is like the one of the only #1 young adult LGBT plus films to come from a major production company.
Yeah.
Specifically for teens.
I mean, I wish it wasn't, but that's just how Hollywood has been treating it. Like, that diversity is really like, oh, it's a big trend now, so let's go ahead and do it. So
I don't know if you guys have have looked, but her first book, Mackenzi Lee's first book, was a retelling of Frankenstein.
I saw the title of it, but I've never read it.
Yeah.
I think it's like some kind of monster. I don't know exactly what the title was, but I was reading it yesterday and I was just like, I think I'll pick that up now, just because I'm curious how that compares to
It's her first book too, right?
What?
It's her first book too, right?
Yeah.
That she published anyway, so.
Yeah.
I think Gentleman's Guide was just the one that really like kicked off her career.
Yeah.
Well,
do you guys have anything else to say?
I just loved it. I gave it 5 stars. So, and
Yeah.
I highlighted stuff in it. I feel like there was a lot of good quotes in there.
You highlighted the book.
Yes.
Yeah, we already knew about this. We already know she highlights.
Like for some reason, like when you said you took notes, it never actually like.
I did it in purple.
Like it never hit me that you actually like highlighted your book.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah, I think she told us this at BookNet Fest, Kat.
I for some reason I knew she was doing it to one book, but I didn't realize it was this book. And
like at BookNet Fest, I had just started doing it, and I was only doing it.
Oh no! I remember you said you were going to annotate Strange Dreamer because you have multiple copies, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm sorry. Like I knew it wasn't this book we talked about, Strange Dreamer.
Oh yeah, Desiree. She accidentally sent me a snippet of conversation that was supposed to go to you, and now I know y'all were talking about me not reading Strange the Dreamer. Like, listen here, biatches. Just because I don't want to read it.
It's so good. You're missing out.
I love it. I was really confused because I was at Will's house and I saw that Kat was messaging me, and then she was talking about me in the third person. Then she's like, "Wait, that was meant for Desiree," and I'm like, "That's how it is."
That's funny. Oh my gosh. You should read it.
No, won't feel
It's
like
so
it.
good. It's so good.
I've read Lady Taylor before. I don't feel like it. I don't.
You're making me read the selection, okay?
And you
that
like
book just like destroys my soul in some parts.
Like it. You like it. I read the Grisha trilogy for you, Kat.
And you enjoyed it, okay? You liked that. Like I was so surprised you.
I have to give you another series that you like before you can give me another one.
Oh, so the last thing I want to say on the book was just that I loved how self-aware Felicity was. I found her thoughts to be very funny. Like at one point, she's like jumping out of the house and trying to climb out the window and stuff. And she's like, there was no ledge, there was no brick, no bush, nothing that books have led me to believe my whole life that there would be something for me to like climb out of this window. And I just found it like really funny. Like there were so many things she said like that made me laugh out loud. And I really appreciated her self-talk too. Like whenever she got nervous or anxious or was less confident, she talked herself up and she was like, you can do this. And so I really liked her very positive self-talk. And so those were some of the things that I highlighted as well. But
yeah, I agree. She's like, she's in her own way. She's like funny. Like I love it. Yeah.
But the one quote that I feel like says a lot, especially right now, with everything that's happening, whether we're talking about like diversity or race or politics, the quote in here says, "There's always consequences, even in standing still, and I'm tired of stillness." So, yeah. So I like highlighted that because I thought, you know, there's a lot of people that are just like, well, I'm not going to do anything about it, or I don't care about it, and it's true. There are consequences from your inaction. So yeah. It just, I feel like that gave me a reminder and a lot.
I haven't read B. Schwab, but her A Darker Shade of Magic has this beautiful quote that one day I want to get tattooed. And it says, "I'd rather die on an adventure than live standing still." And I was like, that is such an awesome quote because it's so true.
Right.
Like, it just like, if you have one life,
right?
Why would you not want to do something with it, you know?
Exactly. So yay to to this book.
Do we have anything else we want to discuss? Kat, anything? All right. So next month. No, oh my God, already November. Because I feel like it should be okay. The part of me that is like college student is like it should be like the end of November by now. The semester's going so slow. But then the other part of me is like, oh my God, it's already November or almost November. So anyway,
right? Like, can you believe like the year is almost over? Like, there's 2 months left in the year.
I wish the semester would go by faster, though.
That's true.
Okay, anyway. So the November book of the month is going to be Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer, the second book in the Gatlin City trilogy now. It was a duology.
Is it a trilogy? I thought it was a duology.
They announced it's a trilogy.
Okay.
They announced that at like when they revealed the cover.
I don't pay attention to that stuff. I look at the cover and I don't read what they're saying about it. That's it.
Well, now it's a trilogy. And
okay.
it comes out on November 6th, 2 days before we leave for Y'all Fest. I'm so excited. Guys, I'm so excited to be reunited at Y'all Fest.
Maybe I'll like read Renegades on the way.
Wait,
on the drive.
Oh, go ahead. I know. Have you read Renegades yet?
I have not. That's why I said maybe I'll read it on the drive to Y'all Fest.
You should. It's a good book. It's also really like a lot of action, so you read it really fast.
Yeah, it's so good. Also, I've seen the two books next to each other, like in a picture, and Arch Enemies is considerably thinner, but they have roughly the same page count. So you know this is probably going to be Bible thin pages.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I've seen a picture of the two books next to each other, like the spine.
Uh-huh.
And Arch Enemies looks thinner, but I'm pretty sure they have a similar page count. So it's going to be like Sarah J. Maas with Bible thin pages.
Ugh, I hate. Just give me a fat book, God.
Dude,
Stop giving me the illusion of skinny. I don't care about that.
Have you guys seen how thick Warstorm is?
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost done, but it's so long. I'm going to look up the page count for both of them. So Arch Enemies is going to be 560 pages. And Renegades was 552.
Yeah, so it's about 10 pages difference.
But the thickness difference, the width difference is ridiculous. But like I'm ready for it. And I think we decided our live show is going to be on Sunday, November 25th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel. That's the Sunday after Thanksgiving, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's all I have. So, anybody else have any final things they would like to say?
Just
this book.
If I can read Renegades, I'll join you guys for Arch Enemies.
Then get on it.
That's good.
It's 500 pages. It's not like you can read that in a week.
Yeah, you're so blunt about it. Just read it. I'm trying to see if I can find the picture of the books side by side, but I don't think I can.
Okay.
Oh, well, we'll talk about it after we're not live anymore. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys for next month's live show, Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer, November 25th, 6 p.m. Bye.
Bye.